Hello and welcome back to the dev place, the Crucible of Avarice. Using the Animite Tables... Great start, Animite Tales Tabletop RPG. Last episode, the gang was separated on the island as they were all doing their own things, and RK having his final date before he makes his decision on his arranged marriage with the third of the grandchildren of Lord, known as Magdalena Ushima. After going up against each other, as she seemed to be quite a spry and wishful fighter, the two of them eventually fought each other to the point in which that she was able to defeat Anarche. Still interested, the two of them eventually spent some time together. However, during this time, Felix and Ferb decided that they were going to show off some of their abilities to the rest of the fighters and the soldiers and generals, readying up for the war that will happen at the end of the in-game week. Despite this, however, they were defeated by Majra Ushima, as he stated that their abilities must always try and help them to focus and fight against all different types of combatants, as he himself was able to defeat both of them. Despite this, however, eventually Ikaje, the eldest brother of Anarche, spoke with Felix and Ferb and just stated that he might be able to help them with some of their abilities, techniques, and even manipulating their willpower. However, it was eventually let slip about the arranged marriage, to which Ikaje got a little bit frustrated and went off on a rampage to gain answers from Anarche. After a large fight between the two brothers and a few other things broke out, all was eventually calmed down and sorted. But not before the end of this situation, where Magdalena and Anarche both soul-bonded using Anarche's special technique, which Anarche stated this would help him figure out and depict who exactly he would choose. However, after this, Anarche stated that this actually made things a lot more complicated, as now he is soul-bonded with two individuals from this clan, and now he understands them both to a great level of detail through their emotions. After everything was sorted out, Ikaje said that he wanted to speak to the party at some point upon his findings, and even potentially have some kind of get-together where he gets to speak to a majority of the party. Anarche, however, stated that once he, discovered that his house seems to have the ability to rejuvenate itself and turn itself back into its original form, but not before turning into slime and placing itself back together and then returning itself back into the bricks, stone, carpet and other formulations that it's made from, which kind of weirded everyone out until they started realising it may very well potentially be because Humoriel died in that house, and therefore his abilities of slime mimicry were passed on to the house for whatever reason. Despite this, Anarche is now about to go back to his own now fixed living room and crash on the sofa due to the excitement that has happened over the day. But whilst this is going on, Felix and Ferb, you have been asked and informed about the things that has been going on, as Ikaje has said that perhaps talking to the brothers would actually be helpful to them, but also if they needed to do some other things that they could do so. This is also the first time, however, that Felix has actually really found out more about the information on this supposed wedding. However, despite this, we now come to the end of that point where it's now later on in the day. It's now getting sort of to nearer the sort of closer evening sort of time. The sun is still sort of up, as it's sort of summertime sort of around this sort of area. And whilst everyone is sort of calming down, Ikaje does say to both Felix and Ferb that he will be sort of off in the bar with the other brothers if they wish to come and speak to them or communicate with them, and he sort of just leaves. We now go back to Aldous. Aldous, what exactly are you doing right now?
How long has it been since we did the talk? Like how an hours, I mean, since we did like the table talk.
It's been about 3 hours. I will say about 10 minutes ago you felt a massive earthquake as well, so I just sort of throw that out there.
I mean, that's probably more common than not on this island.
Flying island full of fighters.
With people like Anarche. That's perfectly natural. I'd probably feel more worried if it was quiet than anything else.
A sudden silence just appears throughout the entire place, and you're like, no, don't like it, something ain't right.
Yes. I sense danger in the air. I guess. Probably just meditating, I guess, in the church.
Okay.
Trying to understand, trying to like communicate again with Animite, considering it like give him a strong feeling once to see if he can replicate it by talking to it.
Okay. I guess roll Apostle, and then I guess what particular things are you trying to think of, or I guess you could say what kind of things are you trying to think or feel or even ask Animite to sort of try and regain that sort of same feeling.
I'll roll for it first to see how badly he gets through this.
Okay.
19.
Nice.
Probably just like asking it, like, what do you think of the angels? Is it okay that we must kill them? Is this your will? They distorted your powers again?
You don't necessarily get anything in so many words, but you do feel an almost sort of strange fluctuation of emotions flowing through you. Through all of the different sounds and noises, they almost hit you right in your stomach and your chest, as these sort of fluctuations make you feel sort of sickly when you think of, like, you know, is it okay to kill them? But at the same time, you also then feel a feeling of almost calmness, and eventually neutral sort of emotions. Like, you almost don't feel anything. Like in the terms of pain, in the terms of unwell, in terms of hunger, in the terms of thirst. You don't need or want for anything. You just feel like it's not necessarily right to kill them, but at the same time, what they are doing to other people is also not right. That what is being done here is not Animite's necessary overpowered. There's not an overpowering feeling of justice here. It's just more of a, I guess you could say, a fluctuation of there are no other options, or at the very least, the options that you have currently presented it's just sort of like a very, very much a grey area. But this is sort of what you're more interpreting from it. The ultimate factor of it really is just as you ask this question, you feel the fluctuation of frustration, disgust, confusion, calm, and then complete neutral. Like, you don't feel a wave of calm. It's almost a wave of calm, and as you sort of feel good, and then suddenly you just feel nothing.
Say, I don't particularly want to kill them either. Is there any way for you in your power to stop them by removing them, by removing their powers you've gifted them?
You feel an almost strange essence flow through you, as you kind of feel this very familiar feeling, almost like it's the same feeling of when you get from when you use your own catalyst powers. But that is all you get.
Okay. So that's a no? He's going to think upon that feeling. No,
Okay.
and just kind of figure out, like, was that a no? Was that a maybe? Was that them trying to say he's the one who has to take their powers?
You can either roll me
Because
a wisdom or an ingenuity.
Both 0, I think. No, +2, actually. Yes. I suppose power knowledge would help in this.
No.
Okay, 18.
Okay, still good enough. You think that the way in which this is sort of being said to you is the fact that although it is not necessarily good to kill, it's not necessarily that feeling of like, it's good to kill. Okay, so we know that that's off the table, or at the very least, if it's still on the table, we know that it's still not necessarily the good option. but it might be the only option we have. And then when you ask the question of, is there anything else that I can do? It just basically, the feeling is the feeling of when you use your abilities to catalyze. You somewhat interpret this in the form of, this could very well just be Animite just telling you to just use your own abilities and your better judgment. Because either way, you have liberated a lot of power stones from not so... I want to say not so savory individuals.
People that Animite didn't like.
Especially, the special feeling that you get is also that sudden fluctuation of emotions when you look at the hand, with all of the different markings. That like those 5 markings are giving you the strongest feeling of true liberation. So, if killing them is the only answer to taking the powers and basically making sure that they're not being used in that way, maybe that's what it's sort of getting. You're not 100% sure, but at the very least it feels like maybe that's what Animite is trying to tell you.
Okay. Okay. And I guess is, continue to kind of clear his mind and meditate and think upon what he was told about the battle. And kind of see if he gets any more visions or what have you. Okay.
We now come back to Felix and Ferb. Anarche has just gone into his own house after it's fully repaired itself. And Akage has sort of gone off, as he said. And Lord has also headed off alongside Magdalena, so it's just the two of you at the moment. You're seeing the large craters and the wreckage that was left over from just a small skirmish between these 3. But now, what is it that you guys are sort of wanting to do? As I said, it's sort of coming into sort of very late afternoon, early evening time, sort of around about nearly, I'd say 4, maybe 5 p.m.
I assume this is after Felix had taken the 2 orbs back to his place.
Oh, okay. In that case, then my next question in that case is, Ferb, did you go with Felix when he took them? When he took the oars? Or did you stay with Anarche? Or did you go off on your own direction?
Ferb definitely would have stayed with Anarche just to make sure nothing else happened.
Fair enough. In that case, I'll say, Felix, since you've put the orbs back in your sort of, your house, your apartment, your accommodation, what do you do then?
Does Felix have a phone at this point? After everything that's happened,
I'd say you still do, because we never explained that it was destroyed. So, for the sake of it, I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Would he have Pinky in his contacts?
I believe you do, yes.
Okay. Then he would simply text Pinky. I just heard about the arranged marriage thing. If you ever want to talk about it, just let me know.
Okay. Whilst you await your answer, Anarche, we come back to you as you've sort of gotten into your house. Ferb has closed the door behind you, and you then immediately crash on the sofa, just fall onto it.
I mean, he's just gonna lay there pretty much for about 2 seconds, and then he'll get up, walk into the bathroom. You'll hear the tap come on, and then he'll walk back with a flannel. He'll lay back down, put it over his face, and then just go back to lying there.
I guess Ferb will probably... There's definitely a reclining chair, next to it in front of the TV, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we ever established if there was that much fascinating furniture. Did you say, wasn't there there was 2 settees, 2 sofas or something?
There was on the coffee table.
Ah, okay.
Fur will just sit on the other settee and just put his feet up. Maybe take a nap.
You just hear Ferb just fall asleep on your other sofa.
I feel like I'll lift up the not the blank, sorry, the flannel just with one eye to see him and be like, oh, okay. I think just
Like
out
5
loud to.
seconds.
Oh yeah, go on.
You first.
No, I was just say I think out loud and Arco would just drop it back on his face. Like, man, I have no idea what I'm doing.
5 seconds later.
As we come back to Felix. Felix, you hear a knock at your door.
Okay, so go to answer the door.
You see in front of you Pinky as she looks up at you, and she's clearly just sort of rather. You can see that she's sort of got dark circles under her eyes. Something that you may have noticed earlier on in the day, but you're not too sure. You've only just started noticing them now. And she looks at you, she goes, "Can I come in?"
Of course.
She walks in. She...
So,
There you go.
Feelix is gonna start brewing some tea. As I'm sure Pinky probably sits down on the couch.
Mm-hmm. Pinky sits down. She just stares there and just looking at her hands.
Been a rough couple of days. Yeah.
You know, about 2 months ago, if you were to ask me if I was going to be on an island commentating fighting of such extreme levels and eventually coming up with plans for a war, I would have said that you're living in some kind of fantasy world. Laughed it off. I wasn't anything like this. I learned how to use my powers because of my sister. And then I learned how to use my guns because... well... I did it because that... it was more for sport. I used them just in case to defend myself, but... I never really killed anyone until I met you guys. Even then, I technically only ever did it against the undead. I've changed so much in just a short period of time. I don't really recognize myself anymore.
I know the feeling. I sometimes feel I've been losing myself. I entered the tournament as a way to simply gather funds to keep my wife alive. And the further we got into it, the worse things got.
Yeah. I don't know exactly where I can go. What I can do after this. If I even live long enough. I wonder what my sister is doing now. I wonder what she would even think of me if she knew. I always thought to myself, there's at least one thing that I had going for me. One reason why I'm doing this, and that's because I truly believe that the world out there is a beautiful place, and that it's worth living for. That you guys fight for what you believe in, so why couldn't I? I mean, starting a war is crazy. But they were so angry and hate-filled towards me and my kind. I never really felt like I was a victim of them, but when they did what they did to Ten and your family, I realized how much that they are so hateful. And that if they continued, I'd lose a possibility of the way of life that I was promised when I said that I'd come with you guys.
The best we can hope is that we can leave the world a better place than it currently is. So,
We would have thought
do
that the
feel-
way that we could do that is by killing.
I do feel after the war might not be a world that I am meant to reside in.
Didn't you say to Anake that you'd have him bring back your family?
Yes. Though I have to wonder, after all I've done, the people I've killed, the blood on my hands, am I still good enough to be their father? To be a loving husband?
The fact that
I
you
wonder.
asked that question could potentially give you your answer. Or maybe you only have enough of your humanity left to even ask that. I'm not I'm not afraid of who I've become. I'm afraid that I'll never become who I was ever again. I believe someone said that years ago when powers first became a thing. It's supposed to be a quote based on the concept of powers change, but so does power. And that then everything that you have becomes who you are now. And that you'll never be able to retain what you were. I don't know if I believe that, but this world, I don't know if it would be thankful for what we do to it.
Lux just nods and takes a sip of his tea.
She does the same. The reason I came over is obviously because of what you texted me. I found out about it not too long ago. Still, I'm not exactly happy about it.
And that's very understandable.
But why is it understandable, Felix?
For me, as a man who has been married, I know that love takes time. The idea of an arranged marriage, rushing so quickly just as essentially a power grab, rubs me the wrong way.
The thing is, though, Anake's not doing it for power. If he was, then he would have taken the eyes. Anake doesn't need power. But there's something else that he wants from them. He makes jokes takes the piss out of pretty much anyone who would even dare to think themselves strong in a weak body or a weak will. But yet this guy, he wants to be a part of their clan so badly that he would... Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate your concern, but I think I need to get going.
That's fair. Just know that I am here for you.
Roll me a persuasion.
See, make sure I have my modifier right. Oof.
Thanks, she says very coldly as she then gets up, walks to the door, opens it, and then just says, "I'll see you tomorrow." And she closed the door relatively calmly.
I like to imagine during this whole conversation, the orbs are just running around upstairs going, "Oh, what's this? Oh, look at this."
Weirdly enough, they already did that once you got here. Funnily enough, they have been very quiet for the last 10 minutes. But they're out of sight.
Yeah, it's like... I assume Felix did get the message of oh, meet Anake's siblings at the pub, right?
Yeah. So Akaje said, if you want to come speak to us, I'll be at the pub for the rest of the night with the other siblings. If you want to come see us, if not, come see us at etc. tomorrow.
I feel like Felix will probably start heading towards the pub, but before then he'll tell the viewers, don't make any messes. There's food in the fridge. That sort of stuff.
When you go and find them, you see them in the bedroom, and they're sort of just been hiding under the covers. When you speak to them, the covers float from these two orbs, like two little ghosts in one sheet.
Okay, I'm heading out for now. I will be back. There's food in the fridge. If you want, the TV is just downstairs with the remote.
They both fly downstairs.
Fair enough.
You then hear the TV turn on.
Felix will just, head out towards the pub.
As you head off towards the pub, Aldous, we come back to you. What are you doing?
On any more insight?
You can roll to see if you've meditated more insight.
Do I roll insight or do I roll apostle?
Apostle to try and see if you can hear more things to gain more questions.
17.
What is your question this time?
Am I doing good?
You feel
Aldous just searching for validation.
You feel a calm wave around your body when you ask that question, as it starts right in the center of your chest. This wave of cool and calm brushes over you and hits every part of your body as you feel good, but not ecstatic, but just a nice soothing wave over your body.
Yeah, he just kind of... yeah, he just kind of enjoys that, I guess.
So we now come back to Felix.
Yeah, and back!
And back to Felix. Felix, you're now at the pub. You see a lot of people drinking and sort of having a good time. Some of the Huskonians, you notice a few, you recognize a few of them who have just come in through over Huskonian sort of area. You've seen a couple of other people here, there, and everywhere. You eventually notice the three brothers drinking at a table where there's another individual that you recognize. This individual is Frigus Smirt, the son of Mrazark, and he's one of the other he was one of the other generals there who will be at the war.
Okay. Felix will go take a seat. Not drinking anything, but that his stockpile, if it wasn't already at max, the armor's probably
no. Just topping off, don't worry.
yeah.
As you sit down, as you just hear Frigus going, and that's when I completely surrounded him with all of my form. As I beat my wings around his body, he realized that there was no other way that he could escape. So the crazy bastard then cuts off my head. Anyway, 3 days later I find him, and he tries the same trick. I now have his head mounted on the wall. As the brothers all then just laugh heartedly. Oh, crazy bastard. We were just sharing some crazy stories. Come and take a seat. Felix, it is very good to see that you're fine. Imalaway, the youngest of Anarche's elder brothers, says, we were just going to ask a couple of questions, really, but to be honest, it was good that you joined. We wanted to tell the story of Bone Island. And it seems as though since you're here, we can now get to it. Yes. So, pretty much all you need to know is this. They begin telling you a story of how they travelled there on a boat that they were able to rent out. And they got closer and closer to what eventually they saw was a large heaping pile of bones, so large that they could not see where it ended. Once they got to it, they noticed that the entire thing was piled high up like a mountain, a bundle of mountains on the shore. They noticed that the island itself they could stand on, that it was perfectly buoyant, but yet it was incredibly solid. But once they got there, they noticed that the entire inhabitants were sentient skeletons. Beings that were just no flesh, no muscle, no skin, no organs, just purely bone, and they were able to walk up to them, and for some reason they could speak without tongues and without lips, but yet they could also hear, even though they had no ears, and yet they could see them, yet they had no eyes. After spending some time and getting to know them, they taught the locals how to fish, and they also discovered a few other different bits and pieces. They eventually explained that apparently over 20 years ago there was a man by the name of Bartholomew Bones, who they basically perceive him as some kind of god. And that this individual created the island by continuously growing more and more bones from his body until he made a massive city that would float on the surface of the water. Bone Island was also created through the means of, after people died, Bartholomew's bone material, once implanted into another skeleton, would eventually corrupt and take over that skeleton, and a new individual life was born. So all of them are quite literally his children. The island that they are living on is made out of him, and they are part of him, meaning that he is both the father, grandfather, and god of the entire island and its inhabitants. They said that they met a few people there that were quite strong and that they had special abilities, but they're mostly quite a peaceful community who love music and enjoy the silly bone-based puns that they seemed to have all inhabited and gained through the means of shared communication, aka their god kept telling them about all of the funny bone puns.
Real quick, would I be able to do, I guess, like a history check considering Felix was like what, like a young teen when the villain campaign was going around.
You can indeed, yes. Roll history.
Okay, it's just a flat roll, so don't expect anything good. But yeah, don't expect anything good.
The name does not ring a bell. You've not heard of any god-based bone man? Or bone-based god man? You eventually hear the rest of the story as they say that eventually they got to know them, and apparently that their god wasn't on the island, but he is always part of the island, but he was off doing something at the time, and eventually they met one of his servants, supposedly a clone of him, and they sort of got chatting and explained the situation, and they sort of had parties, sang songs, and enjoyed themselves. Eventually, after a few days, they left to return back to the island. And they said that the island itself was very much, it looked like as if it was going to be like a horror film or dystopian, but actually it ended up being quite interesting and quite fun. Despite this, however, they said that every now and again they would see all sorts of different things that would happen. One particular thing that was quite interesting that they thought was weird and funny was that they were that one day that they got there, they suddenly saw this creature burst up onto the shores of this island, and this creature had a body of a shark and sort of combined with the body of a shark and a dog. And it started trying to attack the inhabitants, as it seemed to like to chew on the bones. This was horrifying, but to the other individuals, the brothers, they found it hilarious. Despite this, however, they did save them via defeating this creature, and eventually they stated that since they hadn't really understood exactly who or what it was, they eventually found out that this individual was actually someone who was a person who actually had both powers of turning into a shark and a dog, hybridized it, and basically thought that that would be the best way to take out the island. They said that they never saw the guy again after apparently one of the security force said that he would be punished. However, they did say that they took note that they didn't sense his energy on the island for any longer than about 2 hours. So they said, we didn't ask the question, but we assumed that they probably killed him.
Fair enough.
Once they have finished telling the story, they pretty much just sort of sit there and just drink, as Akaje just says that he has already informed the other brothers of Anarke's quote-unquote situation.
So nod.
I don't think, really, that he should be doing this, but he seems to like this universe a lot, and he seems to care about you guys, including yourself. My brother seems to think that you're a good man, and quite frankly, I can see why he thinks that. He also wants to do right by you. Even though he's got the most powerful artifact I think any of us have ever seen, he's willing to use it to save your family.
Yes.
He's a good kid. Well, most of the time. The second eldest then sort of chirps up as he goes, "Oh yeah, Akaje already told me you're looking to potentially learn something that might help you against ranged fighters using your willpower.
Correct.
I might be able to teach you a few things. Maybe you'll be able to use them to better that range. I've got a couple of techniques that I could be able to teach you. One particular one is, we're having booze. We don't need to talk about business just yet. Drink up, Felix. What do you want?"
I'm just trying to think what Felix would want in this moment.
Beer, cider, tequila, shablublub.
Take a mimosa.
Very well. 1 mimosa. Eventually, they make you what they think is a mimosa as they give it to you.
They're gonna have to roll con.
I'm gonna say no, considering it's coming to the end of the day anyway. You know what? Roll metabolism. Let's see.
Okay. I'm not powered up, so it's just a flat roll. Okay.
Okay, not
Well.
bad, not bad. You do well. Yeah, eventually you guys, have a few drinks, you share some stories, talk about some things. Do you share any of your your combative stories, or do you sort of keep those to yourself?
I mean, I think he would probably indulge in sharing some stories. Like the amount of times he's ripped off metal arms. The one time he fought 10 and assumed that he had lost his powers afterwards. Followed by the fight against High and Dry. You probably talk about the massacre against Toxie.
Yes, yeah. They listen in sort of like as you regale these tales. They listen with both enthusiasm as well as excitement as each time that you both build up the explanation and you tell them how it happened and how it went down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you got your powers, you went into a tournament, you fought, and then you thought you lost your powers. You then fought 2 people who took down your entire team single-handedly, and then you realised you had your powers at the last second.
Right.
Bro, that is so cool.
You also probably regale things that the other previous party members did before they all either died or left.
So you're telling us that the crazy one with the long arms, she had some kind of strange crush on this Bruce guy, and then suddenly she was fighting against the guy who was throwing cards on a boat?
Yep. That about sums it up.
Damn. And then there was also a wasp night girl with you.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. And she left after, sister.
Reasonably so.
No, that's fair enough. That's understandable. But you're also then saying that Phoenix man brought her back to life.
Yes.
Crazy. Damn, you guys have had one hell of a show of it, but you're the last one from your original team.
I've seen it all. Yes.
People have either been killed, kidnapped, or quit. And yet you're still there, still fighting. No wonder my brother still hangs around with you then. Whether he'll say it or not, he's enticed by strength. I'm not just saying your muscles. Clearly you have an iron will. Hell, if any of the 3 of us tried to copy your powers, we'd be bloody useless. I mean, first of all, me trying to keep a vibe without getting too hyped is absolutely impossible. Ioge has terrible anger management issues, and, I mean, Amalaway's great and all, but sometimes he just feels a bit too melancholy to really do anything. Okay, that's not fair. Okay. Sometimes he feels high and mighty about himself. The 2 brothers lock eyes. Either way, I'm just saying, your powers are pretty impressive that they work personally for you, probably better than anyone else in the world could. You've got balls of steel, but also, you've got a heart made of iron.
Well, even I have my moments. Definitely helps that I am somewhat skilled in chemistry and can make things that are able to keep me calm when I need to.
Oh, so you're dope as well.
Correct.
You gotta give us some of that shit sometime.
I mean, I could pass. I have some on me.
Yes. Get in, sunshine.
Just like, how many pills would that chill pills do I need to give to them? I have 15 on me.
I mean,
Surely enough.
You could give 3, considering each one of them will probably want 1 each. But Frigus doesn't want 1. He just goes,
Okay.
no, thank you.
Fair. Very fair.
All right, down the hatch. Yeah, very well. Okay. As they all just down 1. Whoa.
Their eyes become dinner plates.
Yeah. Their eyes just literally become dinner plates as you can see space and time through them. This is... wow. Just... wow. A few hours go by as you sort of still enjoy each other's company, talking and chatting shit. Eventually you head off, go back, and head off to bed.
Orb's still watching TV.
Orbs are still watching TV, but they brought the blanket down to cover them.
Okay, so I have no blanket in my bed. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Felix will lay down on his bed, and I assume he'll change into like pajamas, like a full-on like nightgown.
Fair enough.
Like the little hat.
As you go off to sleep, and Anarche, you've also eventually faded into sort of sleeping, and Ferb, you've been asleep. Aldous, you notice that you are now beginning to tire, and it is now time to retire to your bed.
Yeah, he will, get up, probably make sure his legs are less wobbly after sitting down for a while, and then go to bed.
As you head off to sleep, and you all, get some good long rest. Aldous, would you like to roll for your thing?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I need to get a 15 with this.
I'm going to say you can roll with advantage today.
Yeah. Okay. No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Eventually everyone awakens, gain decent sleep.
I might like me, but not luck.
As you all get decent sleep. I'm going to say Ferb and Anarche, you get decent sleep, but as you wake up, you're somewhat stiff because, again, you've been sleeping on a sofa. You'll sort of arise and awaken and sort of like start trying to get ready, get dressed, go off and do your own things, whether or not you need to get showers or whatever. Going through whatever morning routines that you normally have. Once you've sort of done that, I'm going to say the main thing that happens here is Anarche. You've sort of gotten ready, gotten sorted, but this question still weighs heavy on your mind. You've been told to tell them today, but you still have some time before you'll probably get hassled by anyone. What is your first move?
I assume is Ferb still in the house at this point, getting ready, or is he?
That's up to Ferb.
If it was in terms of getting a shower, Ferb would have probably excused himself back to his own domicile to do that.
Then in that case, he is at his own domicile to do that.
I feel like at this point, Anarcho really not too sure. I feel like I feel like he's going to try and go to Felix's abode first to see if he's there.
Okay. Felix, after sort of getting yourself sorted, showered, dressed, whatever, you eventually do hear a knock at the door.
Come in. I feel like Felix at this point is trying to make scrambled eggs, but struggling with the forearms.
Just one of them is batting the other one out of the way, whilst the other two are actually trying to make it, but you can't see very well.
Yeah, it's also like the orbs are probably just running around the house.
Eventually, Anarche, you are said to come in as you are verbally allowed to be let in. As you walk through and get into the living room, you can hear Felix is frying up some stuff.
Still keeping up the cooking, I see.
For as long as we can.
Well, that's fair enough. I feel like Anarchi's just gonna sit on the couch, wait for him to finish.
An orb just flies very close by your head.
Hello, you been enjoying it here?
Ah, Mr. Anarche, welcome.
I don't want to know what the orbs learned while watching TV.
Would you like to know about sex in the city? I have learned many things from your television, or television, also known as TV.
Felix, are you leaving them unsupervised?
I can't be everywhere at once, Hanake. They're old enough, probably, I think.
We are
Oldest
currently over 2,000 years old.
They're old enough.
I think I'll pass learning on sex in the city. I didn't even know that was a show.
Very well, then there are other shows where people sell things for incredibly high prices. I believe they call it something shops. Thrift shop. Strange word.
You watch some interesting shows, I'll give you that.
Also, there is something called a Lizard Cube X, where people similar to yourself fight in incredibly intense battles. However, there is a lot of screaming.
I mean, that sounds like something I used to watch in the day, to be fair.
Tell me, what is a super simian?
A super simian.
I got roll world knowledge.
By any chance, did they, like, start glowing?
Yes, a very strange blue.
Oh, blue's what they chose in this universe, huh? Understandable.
Eventually, you finish up your questionable eggs. And you come to sit in the living room with Anarche.
So, what brings you here this morning?
Well, as you know, I've got to make that decision today. At some point.
Been made aware, yes.
Yes. And I'm very confused.
Oh?
Well, you know, I thought that coming to understand them completely would make this decision a lot easier. Turns out, it kind of just makes things more confusing, because now I feel bad no matter what I pick. Now I just kind of feel stuck.
That's fair. I can understand with just how quickly this is moving along, the stress of making a decision.
And as you've probably noticed, I'm terrible with women. I don't understand it. Look, I'm great at fighting and all, but when it comes outside of that, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Trust me, I'm not great myself. But it's kind of hard to give advice. Love takes time. It's, I know you have your soul bonding thing.
Yeah, I have to be honest, I think. What even is love? That's a weird question. I don't like being philosophical. I have to
Answer.
think too much.
Love is a chemical imbalance within the brain when thinking about or envisioning another individual.
Oh, I didn't need the scientific answer.
Well, you asked the question.
I meant more of a philosophical sort of. Never mind.
They start pulling up like a philosophy show they watch.
I mean, like, it probably doesn't help I had the weirdest upbringing, and I only know that because I've heard of everyone else's upbringing, and you kind of figure out how weird it is. So I don't really get this whole lovey-dovey thing. I don't really understand it. So it's difficult. Doesn't sound bad, but I don't really get it.
It's fair. Love is very different for each individual. It's a confusing mess at the best of times. Just, I know you don't have much time for your decision, but try to think through it carefully.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. It's weird. I mean, Tori, more of the process, went out of her way to find more out about me, and I kind of understood her to the degree of her responsibilities and the sort of way she's been viewed in that lot, but it's kind of the same with Magdalena at the same time. She's kind of had a heavy responsibility put on her and high expectations, and I get that as well, but also I kind of understand her more as a warrior as well, and the sort of thing, how she wants to grow. Oh man, I feel even more confused talking about it now. Oh.
That's fair.
And there's all the Pinky stuff. I gotta speak to her at some point, and man, I'm just gonna fuck that up even more.
Question. Pinky. This was the individual who came to speak with you last night, Felix, correct?
Do I need to roll nerve or something?
You can indeed.
Oh god. Just trying not to spit out his eggs as he's...
You spit out some eggs.
Yes, correct.
This individual was talking about how she feels as though her entire life has been done completely and utterly in turmoil ever since that she met your group. She feels as though her self-identity has changed, irreversibly so.
He was just putting his, one of his hands to his face, just like, oh god. Children.
It is not necessarily stated that she blames anyone. However, it was implied that perhaps this all started once she met you.
Well, can't blame her. She's not wrong.
In many other terms, that would also mean I am correct.
Right, anyway.
The orb then zooms off.
It's just...
I've kind of been ignoring her the past few days. I mean, as you probably know, she was, well, at the War Council, she was a bit snappy at me. I feel like every time I speak to her, I somehow make things worse. So I've kind of just not been talking to her, but I feel like that's also probably going to make things worse. I feel like I'm stuck between a really tough guy and another really tough guy.
Oh.
That sounds like a sexual innuendo. Now.
This is out of game. Oh.
I was trying to use a warrior fighting thing, but you know, a rock and a hard place would have probably. Nah, that sounds bad as well. Look, you get my point. It all sounds terrible.
Good thing you didn't have any like windows open or anything whilst you're saying that. Just a guy just sticks his head to him. Been there, buddy.
Well, I think it would be good for you to talk to her eventually. I know things might come out worse, but they're not going to get any better if you don't talk.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really know if I should do that beforehand or afterwards. I mean, do you have an opinion on that? What sort of should
I'm assuming before the wedding or after the wedding is the question?
Well, yeah, or the confirmation.
I would suggest going before. Maybe it'll help shed some light on your decision.
One of the other orbs, the other orb just goes by. Perhaps there might be another alternative. Oftentimes, people seek out people to answer some of their questions. Others usually find authority, or even orders of a higher power. Perhaps the priest may be able to help you with any particular confessionaries.
I don't know if all this is going to be helpful in this situation.
Despite everything else, it
he
is
was
better.
Married for a time.
It seems as though us orbs strike again with perfect commentary.
You're gonna lose your TV privilege.
Despite everything that I said, there is some truth to what I am saying, in more of a fragmented scientific method. Asking but one individual seems rather reckless. However, asking others may very well help and vary your results.
Just know that in the end you hold the final decision.
Yeah. And for once, that's what I'm terrified of. Well, I guess thanks for your help.
You're all welcome.
I wasn't talking to you.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry about them.
No, it's alright, I'm used to it.
Fair enough. Well, we'd best be ready for the day ahead of us.
Yes, I mean, it should be peaceful, somewhat.
Hopefully.
Probably not, let's be honest, but you know, it's nice.
Yeah, there's a fair chance it won't be.
Someone will try and kill us, it just kind of has to happen, you know.
Oh, by the way, I heard a very interesting story from your brothers the other day about Bone Island.
I'll have to ask them about that one. Yeah, they love telling their stories. They go on a bit too long sometimes, though.
It's just if you ever need something to distract, I guess, from what's going on.
Yeah, probably should speak to them today as well. Well, I guess I'll take the Orb's advice and go and speak to Aldous, see what he's doing.
Fair enough.
Again, thank you. And
Not sure I was much help, but You're welcome,
Well,
I guess.
it's nice to just, get my thoughts out there. And thank you, Orbs. I'm speaking to you now.
One zooms down from upstairs, the other one just locks eye at you.
Yes, thank you for your advice.
We
There
were
you go.
helpful. Yay, we were helpful.
I feel like my pocket dimension might have permanently damaged their brains. I'm a bit concerned.
Maybe. I certainly wouldn't have wanted to be in there for that long.
No, that is fair enough. I didn't really think that path through.
Eventually, you head off, going towards Aldous' church. However, we now come back to Ferb. Ferb, you've gone back to your own personal domicile, and you will not be harassed as you get showered, get dressed. What exactly is your plan? Where to go next?
I think Ferb would probably meet up with the boss, see what his plans are for the day,
Okay.
and then see if he can help out where he can.
So you head off back to Anarche's place then?
Yep.
Okay. You head off back there as Anarche. You get to the doors of the church. However, we now come back to Aldous. Aldous, you've gotten up, not received any further premonitions from Animite, and you have, done your thing, gone around in your own church, just looking at everything. As you are about to leave it, to greet the day, as you notice someone is standing in front of the doors on the inside of the church.
Anyone I know?
Not personally, no, but you recognise them from the back.
Oh. Oh my.
The same brown-haired young man individual.
Okay. I guess Aldous will quietly walk over. And just, is he just like dead facing the door?
Sort of. That's what it
Like-
looks like.
How close is he to like pressing himself against the door?
Oh no, he's not pressing himself. It looks as though he's looking at something or doing something just in front of the door. Like something is down by his sort of gut area, and he's holding something or doing something down by his sort of like stomach area. Whether he's doing something, you're not entirely sure what it is that he's currently doing with his hands.
Okay. Aldous will quietly walk over and take a look.
As you walk over, you get about 2 meters, and you just hear a voice go, "Hello."
Is it from him?
It is from him.
Okay, he'll keep walking closer. Hello?
As you start walking closer and closer, it's like, I wouldn't really try and get closer if I were you.
Stops immediately.
I'm currently
Okay.
wondering about something. Tell me, you often ask a lot of questions, but isn't the whole point about your faith keeping your faith regardless of what your god tells you?
Although I'm unknown and he's giving a kind of confused face. Yes, but I ask questions to try and figure out what it wants me to do.
I know why you ask the questions. I just wonder exactly why you ask the questions of if it's happy with you. Surely it would tell you if it wasn't happy. You can hear it, can't you?
Yes, but sometimes, after the many things that we've done, sometimes it's, good to hear that I'm still in its good graces.
Well, very well then. I think someone's gonna knock at that door. As you suddenly hear a knocking at the door, as an arcade, I'm assuming that that's the first thing you do is just, give it a cheeky knock.
No, you just
Yes,
burst the
a
door open.
cheeky knock. No. I'll hold back to not burst the door open.
As you knock on the door, you sort of look just ever so slightly, your eyes tilt towards the door as you suddenly, for some reason, can't see the guy there standing in front of you anymore, like as if he wasn't ever there.
Oh no, all this is going insane.
Or am I having religious times? Yeah.
Hmm,
Did you think about that?
I think it's the former.
I like to think of the latter.
Aren't they both just insanity?
Yeah, it's a bit comedy, really.
Faith
I mean,
is,
I don't want to rag on religion on stream.
faith is faith,
I mean-
insanity is insanity. They're different things.
Sometimes.
Yeah. At least I'm not. At least it's not Scientology.
True.
Oh, hang on a sec, guys. Someone's just knocking at my door. Oh, it looks like I've
Oh my
just
god,
been
it's Tom
sued.
Cruise!
I've just been sued by Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I will I'll just kind of wave my hand and make the door open.
The door opens, and okay, you walk through, seeing Aldous.
Hello, Anaka.
Hey, sorry that Bobby you so early.
No, that's fine. I've been up for some time.
Ah, okay. Well, I came to ask for some advice, like last time.
Okay. What do you need advice with? Is it still with the wedding?
Yeah, so I went on all those dates. And, well, I guess you could say, yeah, I have two people I'm sort of choosing between. I don't really know how to explain this. I used a technique that...
We can sit together and you can tell me about it.
yeah, that would probably be better.
Just sit down in the pew.
I feel so weird doing it sitting in a church. Right,
So tell me,
anyway.
what is it?
So I used a technique, a soul bonding thing. It essentially allows me to completely understand the emotion of someone, and they can completely understand my emotion. I used it on two of them, and I'm now kind of confused who to pick between. It's made it more difficult because now I kind of know everything about, well, at least emotionally, I kind of know everything, and it's kind of made it difficult because now I kind of feel bad, whatever choice I pick, if that makes sense. So
You're asking me to help you choose between which one you should marry?
Kinda. I have to be honest, I don't even really know myself what I'm kind of asking. I'm just kind of looking for people to talk to, if that makes sense. Because
So you're looking less for advice and more to try and speak it out so you can understand how you feel.
yeah,
Well,
I think.
tell me about them then. Tell me about both of them, and we might be able to figure out which one you should be with.
Alright, well, there's Tori. I don't know if you remember. She was the one we met, well, probably when you might remember her, is when we were running around for 24 hours, and we were in Smithy's old like vault place. The one in the mask who kind of we looked through the cameras on.
Can I roll? Can I roll history?
You'd definitely remember her. She was also one of
Okay.
the fighters who fought against Fletcher back when he was alive. She wears a mask to cover her face, and she acts kind of weird, wacky, and zany. But she uses many different weird special techniques to make herself intangible and sort of distort space around her.
That doesn't help much, but okay, I'll accept that I have known her. I mean, he doesn't say that, but that's Sam.
I think almost every session that she has shown up, you haven't been there.
Makes sense.
It's been like every other session, so because of that, whenever she appears, she isn't there on the sessions that you're physically there, but your character would be around. So you take his word for it, but you don't necessarily fully remember her. You just know, okay, she's one of the Ushima, and she's the one that wears the mask. Got it.
Okay. Continue. Yeah, I recall her.
Ah, thank you. Well, how do I put? And well, when we did the date, I guess it still feels weird to say that. She more took to trying to figure out how to know me. So she ended up trying to take me to the muffin place that was originally in Irish City, because she had found out that I sort of liked that place, so she thought to take me there, which I did appreciate. But I the kind of bought the place, and it was on the island, and she didn't know, so that made things incredibly awkward. But I guess she is caring. She has heavy responsibilities, but sort of because of her position, she's had to, well, I guess they all have, but she's worked incredibly hard. She kind of puts on the mask and the whole identity thing to, I think, kind of separate herself from when she's at work, if that makes sense.
Well, that's not.
Man, it's weird explaining other people's emotions. Yeah, I mean, when I got that feeling when I connected with her, I don't know, maybe a part of it felt lonely as well, but if anything, I feel like I got that more from Magdalene. So I guess I should really just be focusing on one at the moment, not trying to skip ahead. But yeah, I felt a great dedication to her people, her close ones. But I guess this probably sounds weird, but I didn't really... She's strong, but I didn't really take her as a fighter, if that makes sense. And don't get me wrong, she's strong and she's fought well, and she's lived that life of a shinobi, I think they called it. But I don't know. I guess the way I would describe it is more like sort of the difference between me and Felix, where, you know, he has more of a baseline purpose to fight for, if that makes sense. Where I kind of just fight for, well, sometimes just for the sake of fighting. Where, on the other hand, it was Magdalena. I got a lot more of that actual, well, is a proper, well, is a warrior in all sense of the words, but she was incredibly lonely. I think she kind of very attached, or I guess not very attached from everyone, kind of hides her softer side, if that makes sense. It doesn't really help that I keep talking about them fighting, but it kind of just keeps where my mind going. Sorry about my rambling. I know that's kind of why I came here, but
Fine.
it's just the more I speak, the more I keep. I don't know. It feels confusing, you know. Like I've taken in years of emotional growth and attachment from two separate people in a short period of time, and it's kind of made me feel unsure.
Suddenly,
Nice?
whilst he's talking about this, sorry, no, go on, Sam. You can.
Go. Well, you haven't felt those kind of feelings before, have you? In your own life?
No, not really. I mean, I could relate to some of them, but a lot of them are very different. And I don't really know if what I'm understanding is love as people would describe it. I mean, I have to be honest with you, I don't even really know what that feels like, so it's all kind of
whilst
things.
the Narco's talking about this, Aldous, you suddenly start hearing some crunching.
Okay.
Oh no, the orbs found
Others
the
will
trash.
probably ignore that for the moment. Because, people could just be coming into church.
There is the doors are closed at the moment, but the crunching continues, like as if someone's eating something obnoxiously loud.
Anake, would you be okay with sharing your thoughts with me? So I can see if this is
The crunching gets louder.
the
And then
feeling
you
of
start
love is.
hearing ruffling noises, like as if someone's like opening up bags of something. And it's like closer and closer behind you.
Fuck's sake. And he will turn around to see who this guy is.
You see someone sitting on
He's
the
reading the
pews.
moment.
You see someone sitting on the pews. It is actually the young man, as he's currently rustling through a large bag of popcorn. That he actually, like, it's like a packet of popcorn that he's just opened a packet of popcorn. Yeah, I couldn't find any more of the boxes.
All this. I was actually a bit confused by this. But, well, like, he just looks at him and then, like looks back to Anake. Okay. Anake, would you be okay with sharing your thoughts with me?
I mean, it would probably make this easier, right? Instead of my words. So.
Yeah. Because the way you describe it, it might just be that they're attaching themselves to the first person that isn't part of their clan that is trying to be friends with them. Because from the way you describe them, they seem distanced, more or less, from everyone else.
Now that's not very nice of someone to say that. Either way, there's a good choice now. Man, this stuff is dangerous.
Can I share your thoughts then?
Can you roll me an insight, Anarchy?
I mean, I can't.
When I roll against it,
Rolling me a nerve.
I've got +5 to this. Actually, wait, do I have a +5 or more? No. diplomacy I have a +1 in, which I've never used.
Ah,
Nerves of steel.
Other than the fact that he turned around to look back, and then, like, other than that, you haven't noticed any other changes. Everything that I'm saying and doing, obviously, only Aldous can hear and see, but therefore, anything that is currently going on and happening behind him, he is perfectly ignoring. So you don't notice any changes. You just thought, that's weird that he looked back. He must have heard something. Anyway.
Yeah, no, you can. I feel like that will be better than me trying to do it through words, considering I don't even know what I'm fully saying, so...
Aldous will, I guess, just kind of put his hand on his shoulder and then use telekinesis. Not telekinesis, telepathy.
Okay.
To read his thoughts and feel the sensations. And kind of intuit from his own experiences what these are.
Okay. Well, the main things that you sort of seen and sensed before was Anarche has met these people. He soul bonded with them. He felt their emotions. He got to know who and what they are. And you know that when he felt this, that they were going to get the same feelings and thoughts and emotions from him. They wouldn't get to see any memories or anything, but they'd at least get to feel the sort of stockpile of emotions that he's built up throughout his life and all the different types of feelings that he's had. And even the sort of emotional state that he has right now. And he's basically taken on 2 people's worth of those emotions in the span of less than 24 hours. And he does feel a connection to them in both of those terms and the other terms of, you know, being people. He's now soul bonded with these 2 to understand more about them, but he does also like both of them in the terms of he doesn't necessarily have any distaste towards them. He thinks that they're both nice and kind people, very interesting, very fascinating in their own ways. But
am I right in feeling if this is more just an attachment to someone being nice to them, for them too, like being
that much you can't gather. You have no idea about anything to do with them. It's more to do with Anarche. So at this point, any other further questions are better to be directed at Kane.
Wait, so I can't go into both of their feelings then?
No.
Oh. Can I not? Wait, if he can feel them, can't I feel them?
He's not connected with them anymore. He just connected with them.
Oh, can't I go into view his memories of the feelings?
Yeah, you can go into the memories of those feelings, but they're not liking him because again, when they started getting really to sort of like and know them, you can do it. But again, just to say this, you can only get emotions from them. You can't actually get memories or thoughts from them. So all you'd do is you'd just go, oh, okay, Tori is very much, she has the feelings and the emotional state of someone who has to continuously wear this mask to create the facade that she's okay, she's fine, but she does a lot of research and she works very hard, but people have always downgraded her based on what abilities she has. Despite this, she does care a lot for things and she does try and go out of her way for stuff. Magdalena, on the other hand, she has always been considered and been picked up by her clan because of how strong she is, but she's always been considered to be having to be the guardian. There's a lot of responsibility on her shoulders, despite the fact that she's one of the younger, she's the youngest candidate and she's one of the younger clan members. And despite everything else, she enjoys combat and she enjoys all things. And when she met Anarche, she actually finally felt like she met someone who didn't necessarily try to make excuses for her and actually genuinely treated her like a human being rather than a monster that defends the clan, but also sees the possibilities of her strength. Whilst also you can also go into the memories again, going back to Tori, is that the fact that he feels like this person is very earnest and very honest. Again, they're very similar in a lot of the ways that sort of they present themselves, except from Magdalena's a lot more aggressive because that she enjoys combat and fighting very much like Anarche, and Tori is a lot more subtle and quiet because she has sort of had to be trained in the ways of being a secret agent / sort of shinobi for her clan. Hence why she wears the mask to try and sort of create this false identity of herself while she's outside of herself. So she places this mask upon herself to make it easier for her to be able to quite literally mask her own emotions.
Saying is, two quite damaged individuals are going for Anake now, who is also a somewhat damaged individual.
You can sort of feel that, but I will say you do feel that they are a lot less damaged than Anake. It's more very much the fact that the sort of the way that they are is because of who they are.
That's what I mean.
They're not necessarily broken, but they do at least very much have their insecurities. But that's what you get from what an Arche felt from them. However, you can't get whether or not they like an Arche because they're the first person that they've ever seen, and you can't get any other further information from them through that means because most of the information came afterwards. The only things that you could really see is they both seek his approval through the means of they are... How do I put it this way? They're both consenting to potentially marry him. But Magdalena's one more particular was to see if he was worthy of her, and Tori was just sort of seeing if he would see him as worthy. Basically, to see if she was worthy for him. She never really felt anything through that means, and Anake never really got picked up on that through the means of those emotions. But Magdalena, on the other hand, sort of felt like as if when Anake got these emotions, it sort of felt like as if Magdalena sort of felt more intrinsically into Anake once she had fought him and once she had actually gotten to know him a bit more. But you don't know really what their feelings were after the soul bond.
Okay. When the hell was the soul bond? Was this before they met? When was what point was the soul bond?
The soul bond was at the end of both dates.
Oh, okay.
And then they left.
Okay. I mean, so far, all this is thinking. I mean, he's very uncertain now of if he should recommend either of them because they both seem not. I mean, they both seem like kind of, you know what I mean.
No,
they seem like people that should make. They seem like people that should make friends first with other people and meet more people before they accept just marrying one guy.
They have gotten out much. They have gotten out a lot. It's not that like as if they're like, they've never seen another man in their lives or anything like that. It's nothing like that.
The way you've described their backstory, it sounds like they were forced, like kept in the clan and made into these people from childhood.
No. It's nothing like that. The reason as to why their sort of darker emotions come out is because Tori told Anake that the reason for why she sort of feels underappreciated is because she has an ability. She's always had to work up to be better. Since she has abilities that aren't massively overtly powerful, but she's had to train and become a lot more of a stealthy sort of ninja-like fighter, and sort of be an information gatherer and sort of espionage sort of individual. But then Magdalena, on the other hand, she was born as a Toonchild Omegan copier, so she had the greatest copying ability, and she could learn and build up everything. Her ability also allowed her to be able to have and copy anyone else's abilities and deal double the amount of damage, heal double the amount of damage. Everything was 2 times better. But because of that, she was then continuously always undervalued in the fact of, you don't have to work hard, your powers just do it for you, which is then what drove her to become incredibly hardworking and basically what she was. They technically could have left the clan at any time if they wanted to, but they didn't want to because it's sort of both an honourable duty to sort of be a part of their family line of warriors, but also because that's not really what they were sort of about. They weren't forced to stay, and they weren't expected to leave or anything like that. It's just more there are expectations that they have in their clan, and they have met them, but due to incredibly arduous amounts of training and proving themselves.
I mean, you're not earning your case there by saying they had high expectations, and that they didn't. They weren't forced to stay, but they were kind of loyal.
It's more of like a family business. Again, like they can leave at any point if they want. There's nothing against or there's nothing for or against it either way, but they're not bound to it. They are more bound to it through honor. If they want to stay, they can, and they are most often do, because it is about sort of keeping, maintaining, and increasing knowledge as well as power.
Okay. Aldous will slowly remove himself from Anake's brain pan. Okay.
So did that help you any, Toro? You don't seem like as if you really care too much. Wait, you figured it out? Or are you going to make the choice for him?
Aldous makes sure to be absolutely silent and waits for Anake to speak.
So do you have a better idea of what I was trying to explain now?
Oh, come
Okay,
on, the
dude,
kid
yeah.
needs you.
What? From what I've seen and what I've felt, you have a strong bond with both of them. And that choosing one over the other would hurt them. But I'm not certain which one you should pick.
All choices must be made.
No, I mean that makes sense.
Can I roll world knowledge to see if, like, because considering there's many religions here, and considering a lot of them are based, like one of them is Poseidon, is polyamory a thing in this world?
I mean, polyamory is definitely a thing in this world. It absolutely is.
Yeah.
But
I meant more bigamy, I suppose, which is the marriage one.
yes, it is a thing, but not a lot of places like or accept it. There are a couple of even like religious organizations that even expect it. There are certain places in certain countries that will completely be allowing of it illegally, but there are also a lot of places that aren't massively a fan of it. But again,
But Iris City, how did it feel about it?
Iris City was a bit of a weirder one. Iris City was... They didn't like it, but they were allowing of it in the terms of if it was religious exempt.
Okay. This might not seem like the best choice, but you could choose both.
That ain't gonna go too well for the kid.
I don't know. It doesn't really seem like that was on the table. Like, I don't know. It kind of seems.
You could ask them, see what they say.
Oh dear. Aldous, no. That's not how it goes. Ah, damn. If only the kid could see and hear me. That would make this a lot easier.
I don't really know. I mean, that still seems. That seems more complicated than just one.
Afraid I don't know. I've never been in the position you're in before.
That was such a
I've only ever had
non-choice.
eyes for one person. But I have seen a few who have had two loves in their lives.
That is a weak-ass
Maybe a bit of a-
argument.
Bit of a juggling act, but they seem to be quite happy together.
You think that this kid who's completely emotionally inept is going to be able to handle two?
I mean, you've managed to work with all of us before. managed to become friends with all of us.
Yeah, but that feels a bit different.
Even the kid's more intelligent than you are.
I mean, I feel a bit lost, but I still get your point. I guess I need to narrow down which one is gonna fit with more how I want to live my life, right? I don't know, is that too selfish? Because I don't exactly see myself settling down or anything, and I don't know.
Do you have to have the wedding this early?
Well,
Just...
I don't think I have to have the wedding early. I don't know. It's more the pick that has to be today.
Trying to think of some way to help this, but I'm afraid.
No, I mean, look, no, you've already been some help already, so I mean, I appreciate it. I didn't expect you to have the answers. Like I said, it was kind of more trying to get thoughts out. I feel like I have somewhat of an idea. Well, not who to pick, but I think I have an idea of how to think about this a bit more.
Ask him what he
What
means. Ooh.
What time do you have until you have to pick one?
I have no idea.
Is it the end of the day?
It might be the end, it might be the middle. I'm working with Lord here. He seems a bit pushy with it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhat early.
Well, I would recommend, at the very least, going out with them again. Because you've only had one date. Try to get to know them more now that you've fought one. Try to get them more like in a social setting. Go out for tea, have a coffee, watch a movie. Do something casual.
Oh,
You get
come
what I mean?
on. Look, I don't know what I have to do to wave my arms in front of this dude. He won't be able to hear me or see me, but you can. As the guy creeps around in front of you, just like literally staring you right in the eyes. Aldous, woo!
All this is now somewhat debating if this guy's actually animate, because this guy doesn't sound like animate at all. He seems too much like... Yeah, I don't know, he doesn't seem like it.
The kid can't see or hear me, so you're either going to have to share or start hearing what I'm trying to tell you. I know you can hear me, Aldous.
What I recommend you should do.
Go on.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea, but like, it's more convincing Lord at that point. And like I said, he seems a bit
Do you want me to
pushy.
try and talk to him?
I don't really know if that will work out. I don't think you have a lack of ability to convince. It's just more, well, Lord seems a bit awkward with anyone that isn't me.
The guy just walks away really frustrated, like stands up to the sort of pew and just goes, "Why don't you ask him? Why don't you ask him to just hear the beautiful voices of Animite again? Why?"
All this remembering his promise not to preach Adamite to Anake.
If the kid can hear you, and he can hear it, he will hear me through you. Come on, dude. Help me to help you. Help me to help you.
I mean, all this is still kind of ignoring this guy, because he didn't seem the way he's frantically going, it doesn't seem like he'd give the best advice in this case.
Oh, come
Now he's
on.
even more uncertain about it, about this guy's Animite, considering the way Animite tends to be more... the word enigmatic.
Are you gonna give me any answers? Are you gonna keep ignoring me? That's kind of a bit rude, right? I'm so hurt.
I may not be the best, but I can, at the very least, distract him enough for a while. Let just go on that date.
Well, first I'd have to find them, and it's a little. And I think, to be honest with you, a part of me would kind of just like to get the decision out the way. I know that probably is a terrible idea, but it just feels more.
Well, yes.
The guy starts pulling his like.
Spending the rest of your life with.
The guy starts pulling his almost like his Jim Carrey-ish looking face of despair. Come on, you're killing me here. The kid just wants to make a decision, please.
He waits for his answer of which one he would like to spend the rest of his life with. Which one does he envision?
I think it's easier to envision it with Magdalena only because, well, she kind of seems similar, if that makes sense. I'm very used to dealing with people who are a bit too into the fighting thing.
Why not pick her?
The kid's got a point. Or has he? I guess we'll never know because somebody likes to be selfish.
I mean, I guess I could say it. She seems like she'd be into traveling more. Oh, man.
Hey, look at that.
Thinking about this constantly, because it probably doesn't help, does it? I feel like I'm just going in circles.
The kid's better at making choices than you are.
Perhaps
Yeah.
you need to do something to get out of your head. Let your subconscious figure it out.
Yeah, like listening to the great songs of Animite.
Maybe. Probably haven't got a bad point in there. What to do?
Oh, I don't know. This guy could probably help you to hear something. But you can't hear me, can you? Please help this boy.
Maybe you need to go and maybe, considering how you enjoy fighting, maybe you should go to the arena for a while.
Are you brain
Either watch the
damaged?
fighting or participate.
I mean, seriously,
Like
Aldous,
they're-
are you
might help you.
insane?
Might help you figure it out. Because you'd be hyper focused on the combat, and while that is happening, your mind can work out your feelings in the background.
I mean, you're not right. Well, I mean, it needs to be a strong opponent, because otherwise I'm just kind of gonna daydream.
Yeah, well, I guess you could always
I
fight
could
the
help.
big
I
brute
want I could be that opponent. I could try.
one. Oh shit, you're serious.
Maybe.
Or if not, I'm sure Felix wouldn't mind.
I always feel awkward to ask him to fight because he has no interest in doing it, and it's part of the kind of a joy kill, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it would be a shame if there was anyone else that he could fight, like that Majra dude, the Lord, or potentially even the girl that he was fighting yesterday. That was a pretty badass one, if I do say so myself.
Wait. It already doesn't help I haven't had breakfast, so I should probably go and do that.
Understandable.
You should offer him something.
Kind of being, I feel like I'm being too focused on this. I think you might have a point by trying to think about something else for a bit. Might help.
Yes, let your subconscious figure it out. Just let it slip out of your mind for at least a few hours, and by then, hopefully, you'll come up with your decision. If you need any more talk, my doors are always open.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't listen to him much, kid. He's gonna ignore you the entire time. Although, then again, I guess you can't hear me, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Thanks for that. And it is appreciated.
He sticks his tongue out at an arcade.
Yeah, this church is really empty, isn't it?
Oh, this kid. He knows something. I know you don't know anything, but it feels like you know.
Sometimes I think it's louder than it is.
Oh, you want volume, Aldous? As he then leans on one of the chairs. You want volume? How about this? As he turns up his fingers towards you, suddenly all of the animite on your body begins to just go from ah to ah as it goes incredibly loud. Roll me nerve.
Oh. Okay.
Or willpower, whichever you'd prefer.
Oh, they're both +5. 23! He manages to ignore it.
At best, you slightly twitch your right eye whilst Anarche isn't looking.
Would I
would
sense the
recommend just-
stones acting up, or?
I mean, you don't have your transformation on you at the moment, so
Oh, fair enough.
no.
So you stand passive sense.
Just passively sensing everything.
Yeah.
Best part about this part? Whisper quiet to everyone else except from you.
Aldous just kind of hopes that Anake will leave so he doesn't accidentally yell something rather than say it out loud.
Have you had breakfast?
Have I had breakfast?
That is up to you if you have had breakfast yet.
I mean, what time of the day is it?
It's early morning, so like 9ish.
No, probably, yeah. I mean, he would get up first and then have breakfast before he'd go back to church.
I say early morning. 9ish is not early, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah, it is. For me, it is.
But yeah, okay, Aldous has had breakfast.
That's early morning for me.
Alright, well... Yeah, I'm gonna go to Stan's sandwich shop. I guess I'll see you in a bit.
Yes.
You good?
Just nods.
Alright then. I guess I'll be off.
As you open the doors and then close them behind you, eventually this guy just looks back at Aldous and then just suddenly raises his hand and then flicks his fingers downwards as the ah just goes to ah. Really? Nothing.
I don't. Are you actually animate? Because you seem to act not as enigmatic as I would imagine you would be.
Not as enigmatic. What? What are you talking about? I'm every bit as enigmatic. Hydromat. Okay, I'm gonna stop that now. I don't really know what you were expecting. You do know what animite is, right? I'm gonna take that silence as a big old no.
Sorry, what did he say?
He says, you do know what animite is, don't you?
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and take that yes with a question mark at the end as a probably. Okay, well, you must have a few questions for me. Roll them off your tongue. Hello?
No, he's just quietly staring.
Oh, okay.
He's just quietly staring at this strange young man that went
thought-
from being normal and quiet to suddenly being cartoony.
I thought you
I was
basically...
trying to figure out why.
I thought you died, like...
Oh, it's just
your internet just fucking died.
I was just kind of staring at him in fuddlement.
Oh, I don't know. Any questions like, what's your name? Why are you here? How come only I can see you and hear you? Didn't you appear in one of my dreams 3 days ago? Or something like that. Any other questions? Just gonna sit and stare? Oh, that's kind of rude. Ouch. I'm almost hurt. He then just sits down on one of the pews. This is a nice place you built here. What is Aldous doing?
Just kind of standing there, looking at him, and yeah. This is a weird man.
Kid, you're gonna have to start talking soon. I almost think that you might have died or gone into some kind of fit. And, spoiler alert, I ain't gonna be able to call for emergencies.
Okay.
Oh, finally he speaks.
Can I apostle to see if this guy actually is anything to do with Animite?
Yeah, roll for it. You at the very least, you're sort of, you know that he was able to turn up the volume of Animite in your head. You're not entirely sure what that means. I mean, he is right. Anarche wasn't able to see or even sense or hear him. You're not entirely sure what it is that he is, but he has to be something. You know that he has at least some capability. It's probably not insanity, considering he affected your hearing of Animite, and considering that the voices and the sounds didn't change, they just increased in volume. It's got to be something. But without really discerning any answers, you're not really gaining anything from him. He doesn't generate any Animite noise from him. Not that you can hear, anyway.
Okay.
I know that you have a few questions, but I'm wondering exactly why you haven't asked any. Bewilderment. Why don't you ask me what I am? Perhaps I can then give you the answer.
Will I believe it, though?
I don't know if you'll believe it, but it will be the truth. I'm not exactly one for lying.
What are you?
Perfect question. But you can do one better. Who?
Okay.
Okay.
I prefer to know what, considering no one but I can see you.
Okay. Sentient mass, voice of the universe, embodiment of all creation. No. Heart of Infinity. I like that one. People have given me that name. The universal essence, multiversal dimensional change, the winds of all things, essence. Oh, light. I like that one. That's probably my favorite. Multiplicity itself. All-indulging pink mass crystals. Animite. All of these things and more are different names that people have given me over the almost near infinite time that I've been around.
All this kind of you can get all this kind of immediately doesn't believe this because it's a humanoid form and that it's talking like this. Why would the will of the universe, the essence of everything, be this guy?
Do you voice that opinion?
No, that's just how he feels, and he wonders if animate is all things, would it know?
Huh. You're looking at me like as if I'm some sort of crazy person or an incredibly handsome liar. Okay, I'll show you my true form, if that really pleases you, but, forgive me. I'm going to have to do this. So, snaps his fingers, and you are privy to a great light that emanates from this guy's body, so bright that it begins to melt your eyes and your very skin as you begin to burn. As you hear this glorious noise that overwhelms your ears and your mind as you slowly slip into the light. Only for it to shut off and you feel your entire body perfectly fine. That help anything?
So, why not? Then,
Well, you're one of the very first out of an incredibly massive world, a universe, and quite a wide amount of the multiverse, who have ever actually bothered to try to consider me some kind of god. And you're right, but you're also wrong. You believe that Animite isn't necessarily a god. It's more like a force, an essence that basically permeates throughout all of creation and creates the entire universe and continues to be true infinity, correct?
yes.
Well, you're actually correct. I am actually a creation, or more specifically, the embodiment of this. I am Rerum. I am known as Multiplicity, or the God of Multiplicity, or the God of many different things. Some call me the God of the Multiverse. But actually the truth is I am the avatar for the Animon realm, aka the heart of all existence. The very stuff that makes up Animite and Animon radiation. No one really truly knows much about me because nobody ever bothers to do so. Not that I really care. That's not really my job.
I mean, all this is now more believing because he's not actually Animite. He's more or less just what he is, an avatar, a follower. So he's more believing now. Okay. So you're a god. You create multiverses?
Well, technically I create everything. I'm kind of... how do you put it? I am both the heart of all things whilst also being separate from it. Once the universe began to be created, eventually beings, objects, time, space, everything was eventually created in the formulation of the universe. And finally, beings above that, whether they're above the cosmos capabilities or even beyond the universes. The Animon realm creates through creation. Once it creates one thing, a whole new set of possibilities emerge. And when beings beyond normal factors of the universe began to create, it then created other beings. Beings that looked over or lorded over or was the sentient embodiment of these things. That's how you got time, having a time god, and nature, having a mother nature, and also how you get gods of destruction and stuff like that. But I was created through the means from them. As soon as gods existed, I existed in this form. The Animon realm is basically the edge of all reality. Not the edge of a universe. No. It's the pinnacle, the very top of all reality. And because of that, that infinite light that glows and it births new universes, leaves tiny insignificant residuals that eventually fossilize and become what you know as Animite. And I am pretty much the sentient form of that field. So when you pray to it, you technically do and technically don't pray to or about me. Most people consider me the god of the multiverse because I create new possibilities and new ideas, but actually, really, I'm more like... the childlike innocence of the very birth of what is the Animon realm. Because the Animon realm is all things, it's creativity itself, so I basically embody that very piece. And because of that, I get to watch the birth of new decisions change the world, either for the better or for the worse. I get to see things change the universe. And even sometimes, the multiverse. A lot of other gods don't necessarily like me. Mainly because I give them more jobs to do, because I just like creating stuff. I love all things, even if they are supposed to be bad. Because ultimately, it's beauty that is choice.
So, what you're saying is that you write the universal novel?
I guess you could sort of say
Using-
that.
Using the actual entity, Animon? This Animite chunks that you use as wording?
I understand that you mortals aren't exactly easy at realizing this stuff, but technically I am both the Animon realm, whilst also being created by it.
Can you go into it? The realm above?
I am technically it.
You can just see doubts immediately, because he's heard of gods. He, gods are just people with powers. And what does this guy say? Oh, he can make the universes. That's just extrapolating powers further and further with Animite.
Let me tell you something. The thing that you just saw was the inside of me. I am basically a living, walking, talking portal of the Animon realm. But the reason why no one else except from you can see me is because 2 reasons. The first one is you've been able to figure out how to see and hear all sorts of things, including hearing Animite Radiation's actual true calling. And the second reason is because that I have chosen to only be seen by you, and the only way that others can be seen is if you let them hear me.
Why? If you seem to be all-powerful, as you claim, why do you need me?
Because you're an apostle of the very essence. I'm glad that some people can see it for what it is. And I'm not really usually caring about those who praise me or not, because technically it's not even me that they're praising. You're praising the universal energy and field that I basically embody. By technicality, it's more like if I was to have someone praise blood cells, and you just so happen to have the most amount of them in the room. We hear your prayers, Aldous. We know what you're saying. And what you did for those around you and what you continue to do, we notice that. There is no true good or true evil when it comes to creation, because ultimately, we created the tools that allow you to create. Your free will is the very reason as to why you're able to do whatever you need or whatever you want. So if you wanted to go ahead and use your abilities to slaughter the entire world, take every power back and basically use your newfound godhood to do whatever you wished, you could. I wouldn't stop you. Because it's all about your choices. It's all about everyone's choice. Animite's whole journey and reason for existing is to exist. To create and to be everything. It's kind of the opposite of the void, which is again a reason why you can't hear it.
I mean, now Aldous definitely knows this guy's not Animite, because he literally asked Animite, and it seemed quite unhappy with the idea of killing everybody.
Do you bring that up?
that's just how he feels internally.
Okay.
So it's just like, okay, let him continue on with his, proclamations that he is Adamite in some way.
Oh, I should probably also say, when it comes to your choices, don't be so concerned about what Animite might think, or what I might think, or what others might think. To be honest, the voices that you're hearing inside of those rings, inside of those charms and those tiny stones covering your body, they are small echoes of the people that they once were. It's not their souls, don't get me wrong, but they still contain a small ounce of their personalities. I can hear them, and they were quivering with fear from the moment that they were infused into Fergus. They were relieved once that you had hold of them. I don't think that they want you to kill people. They don't want you to end up turning out like Fergus. So they do have their own biases and opinions. I, on the other hand, am a little different. You are part of this great creation. Do with it as however you feel. Animite is to be used for the sake of creation. If that creation is to start wars or to end them, to help or to harm, to heal or to hinder, there are many different ways that you can use or interpret its words. But ultimately, the song is just the leftovers of the creation of the world. It sings its praises and it sings its dues. What will you do with it? Your silence tells me everything I need. It's honestly a shame. I thought that we were going to have a little bit more of an interesting conversation. Perhaps sip some tea and talk about the good old days of when you realized that there was something above all others. And the fact that... What were you saying?
Animite?
Yes. What about Animite?
Is what is above all things.
I think you don't always seem to know your answers. But when you ask the questions, you know what answer you would prefer. I think if you really want to get your answers, you need to think a bit more about the answers you do and don't want to hear. Maybe that will help you. Or perhaps...
You do not believe I'd like Animite to be someone I could understand, have a conversation with? That this entity that created the cosmos, that gifted us with these powers, that did all these things, would be someone I could understand, talk to, form a relationship with, rather than this unintelligible, beyond all comprehension entity that I can only hope to get motives from.
Okay, then why don't you ask me? What are my motives?
Because I don't believe you're Animite.
What
Truly.
would you have me do to prove it? You see the paradox there, kid.
Okay, allow me to think a moment.
What's
I have to think of I have to think of something that only Animate can do, that one cannot do with asking powers of it. Because I have been able to do many many things with Animate, with its powers gifted to me. I can create life and take it away. Fly, defy the laws of metaphysics. So to believe that the thing that grants us this is indicates to Rerum, rather than just another one gifted with powers like the many gods of this planet.
Whilst you begin thinking, we now come back to Felix and Ferb. Ferb, you have gone over to Anarche's place, however, Anarche is not there. Felix, you, on the other hand, have you've now finished your breakfast, obviously spoken to Anarche, and you now head out. Where exactly are you heading off to?
That's a good question. One that I'm not fully sure I know the answer to. Did we have any scheduled meetings today?
Nope.
Nope. Just Felix will just be going to the farmer's market. He'll buying ingredients and stuff.
Fair enough. Ferb, you've been looking around the house. You can't see Anarche anywhere.
This is terrible.
The worst news I've heard all week.
Let's see. I guess, knowing what Ferb knows about Anarche, he will seek probably the first place he would think Anarche would be. And that would be the arena.
I thought the muffin shop, but fair enough.
I also thought the muffin shop.
Actually, yeah, it would be the muffin shop. To the muffin shop!
As you head out to the muffin shop, you ask around. Apparently they haven't seen him today just yet. So that brings you to your second conclusion. The sandwich... No. Eventually you do head off to the arena. Anarche, you went out and got yourself a sandwich to eat, and then you went off to the arena once you finished eating. What exactly are you sort of going there? Are you sort of looking for anyone, or are you just sort of what are you hoping to do?
I feel like he'll just watch fights for a bit, and then his whole idea is just sort of to analyze fights, so that the main stuff sort of, as Aldous suggested, sort of just goes into the back of the mind.
Okay. As you continue just watching fighters sort of cave in each other's skulls, or slash each other apart, or burn each other alive, whatever abilities or uses are being used, means of fighting, as you're continuously watching this, eventually Ferb catches you sort of watching and comes over to you.
Hey, boss. Watching the fights?
Oh, hey, yeah. Just gotta take my mind off things for a bit.
Oh, cool. I was looking for your... I was trying to catch up with you on what things you wanted to do today, but I just missed you.
Ah, nah, sorry about that. Probably should have said.
No worries, no worries.
Uh,
What are you thinking about?
The whole, marriage thing.
Oh, yeah. Your two candidates.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're torn between Tori and... I don't think I knew the other girl's name.
Magdalena.
That's it. I mean, she put up a really great fight with you yesterday.
Yeah. You remember that, Jun Folaponte, the mass healing guy. He had like
Doesn't ring any bell.
he had like the invisible ghost thing when we were at Felix's old place.
Oh, the thing that looked like a floating torso.
Yeah,
Oh, him!
yeah,
Oh yeah, he technically killed me.
yeah. She had his healing ability with a few others on top of copying quite a few
Ah.
other abilities.
So she's seen a large scale combat then.
Well, as far as it seems, she is the strongest.
I mean, if she's able to go toe to toe with you and to knock you out, she has to be of some levels above even maybe even Lord.
Yeah. No, she is impressive.
So tell me about Tori then.
Oh, well. I mean, in terms of fighters, she's alright. I mean, she was sort of on par with Fletcher.
I did
No.
catch their fight.
Yeah. No, given time, I think Fletcher would have been more, but at the time. About par, although. She's. Well. She hides a lot of who she is a lot of the time to do with her job. That's why she wears the mask. It's like a separation from work sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yes. Like, making friends with your clients, but also working with them to get deals done.
Yeah.
I can understand that. Tend to want to have a separation between home life and work life.
Yeah, no, I think that's a bit difficult for any of them in that clan.
Yeah.
In that
Considering what
whole-
shoes they have to work to.
Yeah, the whole focus of strength, and I imagine the things have probably changed now that Lord is back.
Almost certainly, considering he took over immediately once he was alive again.
Yeah.
I wonder how Madra felt about that.
Well, I don't know, considering, as far as I'm aware, I think it's two of Lord's children who are alive who were technically in charge, or one of them, something like that. I think Madra's his grandson. I don't know, the bloodline's a bit confusing, to be fair. I didn't really pay that much attention.
Yeah. It must be difficult for him, considering he just came back and all he probably remembers was his kids, and now he's got probably 6 lineages.
Yeah.
This isn't about him. This is about you, boss.
Why isn't it always?
As we now come back to Aldous. Aldous. You're still standing in the church. Standing before this individual claiming to be Rurum, claiming to be Animite, and asking you, what exactly do they have to do to prove to you that they are this supposed being that is all that he's ever wished for?
Okay. He's actually thought of one, because it's one of the few things Animite's been able to do for him. Which was make me immune to being damaged by Animite then. If you are Animite.
You really want that? You want me to make you immune to Animite so that I can prove that I'm Animite?
It's immune to its damage.
You are a cheeky one, aren't you?
You seek for me to believe that you are the creator of the universe in all its forms and flavors.
Then why does me making you immune to Animite prove that?
Because no power I know has the ability to do so. It is the one thing able to destroy and create everything.
Now that is actually where you're wrong. Animite technically doesn't destroy. It creates methods to destroy. It's actually one of the very things that Animite is not able to do, is actually destroy. As a matter of fact, that true destruction, true complete annihilation and being forgotten, that is something that is only left for the Void. Yes, it's true. Fire, lightning, physical force, freezing temperatures, grand masses of radiation can ravage and destroy all sorts of things. But Animite created those things. As I said, Animite does not destroy. It creates the means to do so. So, I technically couldn't just snap my fingers and erase you from existence. But I could snap my fingers and make you into anything that you wanted. I could technically do all those things, but to make you immune to Animite, if that's really what you wish. But I will say, I'm kind of curious why you picked that of all things. Although
It is a power Animite grasps me by believing in it.
Okay.
It is one of the it's one of the things that no other power gifted by Animite in the blood can stop. And then he uses Power Catalyst to do essentially just lift his hand and show a bit of catalyst shock.
Okay. He waves his hand.
Okay.
It's done. You're now immune to Animite.
Okay.
Quick, slap him with Animite, see what happens.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming at this point he is still amalgamated to all of his many stones because he just never not.
No, you're not.
Why? I never de-amalgamate.
Oh no, I know what you said, and I agree with you. You were amalgamated to them. You were.
Oh, okay. So he went with. Of course, he went for that because, yeah. Okay, he will attempt to use a Power Stone.
How are you trying to do this?
He'll use Flight, so he'll levitate off the ground.
Okay, so this is Catalyst, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't work.
Okay.
Well, you asked me to make you immune to Animite. I basically changed your physiology so that you were a human.
What you're saying is another thing people can do with Animite.
Oh, come on, I thought it was funny.
It's not proof.
Fine. Snaps his fingers. You feel your body amalgamating to all of the powers again, despite the fact that you can't normally do that if your powers are nullified.
Okay. And he will attempt, with a small piece of Animite, he'll attempt to nick his hand.
You do indeed slightly cut your hand open, but only just like a paper cut sort of thing, unless if you attempt to try and go deeper.
It's just enough damage that would instantly have killed him otherwise, considering how amalgamated he is right now.
Yeah. No additional Animite damage. Proof enough?
Perhaps.
Okay, how about... Oof. I've got one. There's another possibility that I could prove that I'm Animite. I could prove all sorts of different things. What if I was able to show you the Animon realm? But this time protect you so that you don't, melt to death and suddenly burst into flames.
Yes.
Then take my hand.
I mean, Aldous takes it somewhat immediately.
Hold on tight. As suddenly you feel everything around you fade into sort of like a strange sort of bubble of light around you, as suddenly the next thing that you see is you see the universe bending around you, almost like as if you're seeing everything around you moving at super hyper speeds, as you're now flying away from the planet, going through the universe as space begins to bend, as you start seeing the solar system pass you by, then suddenly out into the galaxies, then seeing galaxies, and then suddenly popping out of the bubble that is this universe. As then you keep going and going and going, you suddenly go through some strange sort of like other dimension, as you suddenly see powerful entities sort of like looking and staring at you as you keep going and going and going, until eventually you're still holding this guy's hand, as you're now suddenly in a large domain where there are huge beings, many thousands if not millions of times larger than yourself, moving around and looking at like small bubbles that seem to be holding universes within the palms of their hand. Yeah, don't mind then, as then you continue going further and further and further until eventually you reach a grand light at the top of this strange cosmos. This light is a swirling pink ball, and as you get closer to it, you are seeing now the edges of this orb. The orb that is no bigger than the size of your head.
Do I hear it?
You don't hear it, no.
Do I not hear the cosmic song?
No.
Okay.
Oh, this is it, but it's kind of contained at the moment. The reason for that is if I was to open it up, to you, this could harm you. What we're going to do is go in. I can't promise that you will come out the other side the same level of sane as you once were.
Okay.
Are you
I
ready?
want to hear it. I can.
He lets go of your hand, and he then takes this orb. As when he begins to take this orb, it then begins to shape into a small, tiny marble in his in between his thumb and his middle finger. Thing is, the thing is, the Animon realm can become as large or as small as anyone wants, because it is the concept of true power, infinity, and all creation of all things. But the only reason it can be this way is because that it's a concept. In this current realm, concepts, just like those three, as he then points down to the large, gigantic envisionments of these sentient beings, they are the embodiments of time, space, and life. But this is the concept of everything. Just as easy as it is able for me to bend and meld however I want, it is also just as easy for you to hear all of this like a grand song. He then takes the orb, and he then places it, he then touches your head with it, as suddenly you are swallowed into this massive pink glowing abyss, as lightning and weird fluctuations of energy and clouds and all other strange things that are all in a sort of pink array are swirling around you as you're taken up in a strange sort of cosmic tornado of this strange pink energy. As you're swirling around it, suddenly bolts hit you and you suddenly turn into a rabbit. You then get hit again and you suddenly turn back into yourself, and again this time turned into a T-Rex, turned into a different humanoid creature, but this of not of your world. Suddenly turned back again, and then suddenly your arms and your legs suddenly rip off and they become different animals, and then they suddenly reattach, and now you've got animal limbs, but then suddenly they change back into normal limbs. As you then see, as you look suddenly into what seems to be a couple of pieces of shattered glass. Inside of them, you see an entire lifetime go through in each one. You see one person who lives their entire lifetime doing nothing with their life, one person with an entire lifetime being able to become a great, powerful leader of an entire country, another person who becomes a dictator and destroys all things, one person who basically ends up creating an object that eventually creates mass genocide, another person who ends up becoming a massive icon for people. And as you go through this and these pieces of glass fall towards you, in just the 5 sort of almost milliseconds of them coming towards you before they hit you in the face, you see all of these things all at once. And they cut you, and as they cut you, your blood drains fully out of your entire body as you become mummified, and you look back still being alive. And as all of that blood goes into 5 different pools, and then they suddenly warp into 5 versions of you that look back at you. And as that happens, one is then suddenly teleported away, the other one struck by lightning and then disappears. One is swallowed up by a portal, and the other one tries to reach out to get your hand, but just before happening, they then turn into dust. As you then get slapped in the face with a massive ball of water, you suddenly then see all sorts of creatures living within the deep oceans. Normal basic fish, sharks, whales, abyssal creatures, any kind of strange monster or creation of this world, and others that are unbeknownst to you. You see all of this in a singular second, as suddenly the water splashes off of you and you're fully healed from all of the damage that you took. As this continues to go on and on and on, it almost feels like this goes on for days. You feel like you're seeing everything in the matter of like only a short second, but now suddenly new things happen to you. Your body changes, your mind is altered, your sight, your hearing, your smell, everything. And whilst this is going on, you're also hearing just a continuous pressure of all things, people's voices, music, sound. You can hear, see, feel, smell, and taste everything, all within this like swirling sense. I want you to roll me a willpower.
Okay. Say 10.
You begin losing consciousness, but then waking up and still seeing things in your dreams. You don't know if you're alive or dead, in heaven or hell. You don't know if you're awake or asleep. Is this reality or is this a dream? You have no idea anymore. You become disorientated, and eventually you begin to just lose all form of what is reality.
Okay. I feel like I've entered a Space Dandy episode.
Eventually,
That's what all of this is.
Eventually, you feel like as if you've been here now for a long time. In fact, you don't even know how you've lasted this long. You feel like as if you've fallen asleep and woken up, and you've been falling throughout this cosmos and existing in this way and being hurt and harmed and healed and altered and changed and flipped around with, and all these different sort of things that have happened to you. And you feel like as if this has been happening for a year, maybe longer. Maybe it's even been a decade. You don't know anymore. You just know that you are staying there, awake, seeing all of this crazy stuff, and you just have no idea what to do. You feel like as if this is going to go on forever, and that you'll never truly escape.
Okay.
Nothing to say? Nothing to do?
I mean, he's slowly losing his mind. What's he going to say?
Eventually, you hear a voice that you know all too well, of someone saying to you, Aldous, Aldous. As you look over, and one of the clouds of this pink storm creates, almost showing off, a silhouette of a woman. It is Aldous' wife. Come back to us. Please.
Give me a second, I have to figure out. I can't remember if I wrote his backstory or not, but I don't think I ever give her a name.
I don't think you did, actually. I don't think you actually gave one.
No. No, I didn't. I'll go with Bethany. Bethany's a good name.
Solid.
God. Bethany? Name wife. He'll, I guess, attempt to walk towards her.
As you get closer to the cloud, it eventually opens up and you can see her reaching for you.
I always knew you'd be here.
And I knew that you would be. As she suddenly grabs your hand and pulls you out, as you're suddenly are swallowed back out of this place, and suddenly you're standing back at the church, holding the hand of Rerum. Do you believe me now?
Can I roll not to faint?
Fair enough.
I mean, he's been away for what, 20 days maybe? Groundhog Daying it?
Probably longer, yeah. I'm going to say either willpower or endurance.
Go with endurance. Damn! I've been getting... Why is it the one time I'm getting good rolls whenever I don't need them?
You suddenly sort of shake yourself out of it, the tears sort of beginning to roll down your face.
I don't know what to believe anymore. I think, maybe? Are you?
I am the Anemon Realm, and the Anemon Realm is me. What you saw, no human or mortals should ever be able to see. Quite frankly, you shouldn't have even been able to survive even a second in there. The fact that I even put you in there at all, and the fact that you're still alive, is incredible. Although, I might have potentially splintered you off a little bit. That's probably going to come back to bite me in the ass. I'm now going to have to probably do this another 4 times. Or even more. I don't know. Maybe one of the versions of you went to a dynasty area and suddenly has now become the emperor of a whole country. I'm kidding. I know exactly where all of them are, and that is exactly what happened with one of them. It's weird.
Okay.
He's happier there.
That's nice, I guess.
Sorry.
He's just kind of staring blankly into the distance.
I shouldn't be so glib and blunt about this. I guess I should probably explain at least something. I was able to protect you in there so that you wouldn't die or suddenly cease to exist. Basically, the last person to be put in there was splintered across all of space. Eventually became sentient space. That was a weird one. But yes, I am exactly who I say I am. Most people consider me to be some kind of deity like the others, like Tempest and like Kovar. But I don't care about being praised. Not particularly. I am alone in my endeavors, Aldous. As are you. I put on this funny little wacky facade. Oh, who am I kidding? It's not a facade. I love it. I love creation. I love making things. I love coming up new ideas. Note to self. World made of monkeys. That would be interesting. Not Monkey
So-
World, but Monkey Planet. Like, legitimately, the planet is made up of monkeys for some reason. Doesn't make sense, but by jingo, it's probably going to be fun. There was also a
You've
place
heard-
where the moon was literally cheese.
You heard of Bone Island, now get ready for Monkey Island.
Actually,
So what
this
you're saying
is
is you want a planet of some kind of ape-like creature?
basically the planet would be the ape-like creature.
Planet of the apes as in made of the apes.
Also, this world is also quite odd. I don't remember. Wait a minute. This is the world that has the Bone Island. Bartholomew Bones. I theorized possibly that kind of species being able to be a thing, but I never thought that it would happen organically. Yeah. Well, I did think that it would happen organically. I just didn't think that it would happen on this world. Well, okay, that's another lie. Sometimes I like to look into the forwards of possibilities, and sometimes I like to blind myself to them. Doesn't hurt being surprised every now and again. Sorry, again, I'm being a bit glib. My point is, Aldous, is that your work has not gone unseen, and your love and devotion will not go unrewarded. Your family still live on somewhere else. And I promise you that Animite will have its rewards for you. The means of Animite are not that of celibacy or of pacifism. It's about creation. It's about love and passion, but it's also about potential hatred. And also erasing everything and starting again. You see, Animite can be made to make all things, but it can also be made to destroy. Animite itself cannot destroy naturally, so it creates tools in which that it can use to destroy. You are clever and devout. And I'm sure that whatever you want to do with the angels, you'll do. And I know that those stones will be grateful for whatever you do, as long as you don't do what Fergus did. You care about Animite enough to ask it every time that you use it. That's all that Animite really wants. Is to feel like as if it exists. It's the leftovers of basically what created everything here. Be thankful, but be greedier. Ask for it to help you. Ask for it, if not demand for it. But don't force it to do things. The answer is almost always going to be yes, no matter what it is. The point is, Aldous, you get to create your own morals for this church. But things that I like, giving people chances and opportunities, and loving when people make a choice. Do you know, once an arcade makes that decision, that actually creates one of multitudes of different possible realities? And that's where I come in. Technically, once that decision is made, a burst of Animon energy will come off from the edges of this multiversal barrier, and it will create more different possible universes. Ones where he doesn't make the decision, ones where he does. Does he choose Tori? Does he choose Magdalena? Does he choose... No, I'm not going to spoil, but there are many choices that he can make that can alter and affect this universe, just like there are many choices that everyone in this universe can make that will create a new universe, and that is what I am. I am the birth and the existence of Animite. And I, personally, my personality is exactly that of what everyone would think Animite, the birth of all things, would be. A person who just loves possibility and opportunity and multiplicity. But I've never actually had it yet that I got to speak to someone who could hear me this organically. I mean, sure, I could just walk out onto the street right now and just go, BAM! And I can suddenly be seen by all people. But you've actually trespassed into the domain of Animite itself. And you heard. But not more than that, you listened. And was even courteous enough to ask. That caught my attention, Aldous. You're doing the right things, and I have faith in whatever you do. That, and besides, I already know what all possibilities you're going to do. And as I said, I love me some possibilities. I'll let you recover. But if ever you need to ask me more questions, you have the tools at hand. I don't know if I'll appear again. I think it's probably best that the next time that we meet, it's when you come to seek me, rather than me appear at your doorstep. But don't go coming looking for me too soon. Alright?
Okay.
Aldous, they don't blame you. And they can't wait to see you.
Quietly cries now.
He disappears. As we come back now to Anarche, Felix, and Ferb. Felix, you've... I can't even remember what you said that you were going off to do.
Felix is at the farmer's market. Assuming there's a farmer's market here. At the moment, he's just trying to live as normal of a day as he can, because he knows there are very few left.
Fair enough. You're off doing that as you suddenly just see someone just look at you and then look down at like the bread. They're just like picking up bread, but you can start seeing that they're like sweating profusely.
You say, look, Felix is actually pretty short.
It's more your reputation than it is your physical stature.
He'll just give a kind smile and continue on with trying to, buy groceries.
Fair. As we then come back to Anarche and Ferb. Lord appears right next to the two of you as he just goes, "Hello, my dear chaps. What are we doing here?"
Observing fights.
Yeah, enjoying a day.
Enjoying a day. Well, it's good weather for it. Picked one hell of a day to have a day.
I know.
Alright. I heard that you and Felix got your asses kicked by Majra. Is that right, Ferb?
He is incredibly strong and wise in his years.
Yes, I guess you could say that. I mean, the man is 45. It's weird to say that. It feels like only 2 weeks ago I was in Iris City ruling over the underground crime networks, and yet 2 weeks later I now have a 45-year-old grandson. And 3 22-year-old granddaughters.
I think you're getting time mixed up, considering you've been dead, but yeah, I guess it would be a shock to the system.
It's odd. Dying and then coming back 55 years later. So, I think you and I need to have a discussion, Mr. Fabrizio.
Fabrizio? What? Where'd you get that from? It's Ezio, not who the fuck is Fabrizio?
My damn daughter. Ugh. My great-granddaughter thought that it would be funny to make a joke. She told me that
Can you read minds?
Hey, I wanted to not read minds for this one. I thought that
Wow, that's incredibly new.
I suppose that you've made your decision, then.
Maybe.
Let's give this a try, then. Who have you chosen?
Anake will stand up, stretch his legs and his arms. Wow. I mean, I feel like, well, it seems like at the minute I feel like I'm more leaning to Magdalena, so if I was to make my choice now, that'd probably be it.
You're acting rather hesitant. But I can understand why. You are being asked a lot. Quite frankly, I understand many of your hesitations. Back in the day, this wouldn't have been an easy choice either way, even if it was nearly half a century ago. Actually, it was over half a century ago. Either way, the point is, this is not an easy decision and I understand that. But since that you have chosen, we will go ahead with what we need to do next. The arrangements will be made. The wedding should potentially be in about 3 to 4 days. Just so that things are ready and prepared prior to the actual war.
Right.
Congratulations on your engagement. I look forward to seeing exactly what else that you may bring to our clan. I shall... What's
cool.
up?
No, nothing.
I shall inform the bride-to-be. Welcome to the family. He bows and disappears.
That wasn't an easy decision, boss. I just hope that in your heart you've made the right decision.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna know that until a lot later.
You just then see Ioge just appear out of darkness. Yeah, damn, bro, that's pretty crazy. Puts his arm
stalking me.
Puts his arm over your shoulder. Oh, sure, let's go with stalking you. Yeah. I actually have a question for you.
What?
Does this rag smell like chloroform? As he just puts something over your face.
I go to punch him.
Roll me metabolism.
I don't even get to throw the punch.
You'll get to throw the punch as well, but roll metabolism first.
7.
roll strength with disadvantage.
Oh wow.
That's still 15. A 15. You slug him in the face, but then you immediately drop to the ground. As you now just like you bundle over a couple of the stadium chairs. Damn. You're coming with me, as he points over at Ferb.
I guess I am.
He then just grabs an arcade, throws him over his shoulder. Follow me. So then go back to Felix. You're now just ready to pay at the at the checkout. It's so weird to think that there's a farmer's market on this island.
Well, I mean, technically, if it's a farmer's market, I'd be paying at each individual stall. That's how it's you know.
Yeah.
If
I can imagine they're all imported.
Either way, you go to finish purchasing your bread. As you feel a tap on your right shoulder.
Which right shoulder? I have like 2 of them.
Your top right shoulder.
Top right? Okay, upper right? Got it. Cool. Felix will look over his upper right shoulder.
It's Ikaje, his older brother, Anake's older brother. You're coming with me.
Okay, can I purchase my bread first?
No time! As he just grabs you by one of your arms and then starts pulling you towards him.
Can I drop like the 200 stars card?
Yes.
I assume that's more than enough.
She only asks for like 20. As you then just get pulled across, and then you're then immediately put on his shoulders as he starts running incredibly quickly down the road with you on his shoulders. As we then come to Aldous. Aldous, you've had like a big weep. You know, everything, you're sort of just trying to, you know, pull yourself together, but it's not exactly easy. Meanwhile, suddenly the doors burst open as a massive breeze, just almost a huge gust, just floods this church.
Okay.
Do you do anything?
Is anyone out there?
You don't see anyone.
I think he's just going to go to bed.
When you get up and you turn around, you then just see Imalaway standing in front of you. Hey, I'm gonna have to borrow you for a second.
Which one's that again?
That's his youngest out of his elder brothers.
Anake's?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe later.
Oh,
Maybe,
cool. Sure. Roll me con.
This will be like the one time this session where I absolutely fail one of my rolls. Yep.
As you just feel a pressure on your neck and you just go unconscious.
There we go.
As everyone is eventually rounded up, including Stan, everyone is eventually rounded up and to Anake's house, but more specifically Anake's garden. As the unconscious Anake and the unconscious Aldous are then put on a couple of the deck chairs, eventually Ferb and Felix are just standing there, just wondering what the hell's going on. As Amaliway appears yet again, holding Stan as he just drops them next to him as he floats back down to the ground. All right, guys. Iorge already had told me the news. Looks like our little brother is getting married in 5 days' time.
Wow! I guess.
You know what that means.
We have to plan a party and a wedding?
This guy. You're pretty funny there. No. It means as as the middle brother transforms, touching Anake's shoulder, he then puts his arm back and opens up a portal. We're going on an entire 24-hour multiversal hopping stag do.
Hell yeah!
As he cracks his knuckles, he just goes, "Get in, lads." And that is where we shall end this session. Thank you very much for everyone listening. This has been The Dev Plays The Crucible of Avarice, using the Animite Tales tabletop RPG system. If you like this, please check out the Animite Tales tabletop RPG system at animitetales.co.uk. No, at animitetales.com. If you want to use the system, it is an open beta. You can use it as much as you like, and even test it and give us feedback as to how we can continue to increase and benefit from it. Thank you very much for listening, and as always, have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Just at some
I do
point,
In the
really.
universe.
at some point, Anarke is just going to be able to go, "My wife," and then that's just going to be the end of the entire campaign.
I feel
And
like
the multiverse was never the same.